I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Raising the debt ceilings does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy.
I know words. I have the best words. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Peddling Fiction Podcast. I'm your host, the voice and soul of so-called fiction, Johnny Profita. And back with me, of course, is the throat goat, hillbilly boy Campbell. What's happening?
Oh, nothing too much. Just trying to get through. I got 4 weeks. This time, 4 weeks from now, I will be in a hospital recovering from surgery. So it cannot come sooner. Crazy to say that I can't wait for surgery, but it cannot come soon enough. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, Stephanie went to see we found a family practice doctor here in town that doesn't do insurance or anything like that. And she's excellent. Way better than any doctor I've ever been to. And that's not saying a lot because I don't go to the doctor, but of the very small handful of doctors I've been to in my life, she's definitely in the top 2. So Stephanie went, and she's getting older and her hormones are a little bit out of kilter. So they were going to put her on a medicine to kind of balance all that out. So she went to the pharmacy yesterday, and the pharmacist was like, with your insurance, it'll cost $65. Like, but if we just do this without insurance, it's $25. Like, what the fuck is even the point of insurance? If it's $40 more expensive to get the medicine using insurance than to just, and that was like with the CVS discount card, like the CVS discount card that literally everybody can get. You don't even have to you just apply and they give you one. Is like, let's just do the discount card and it'll be $25 instead of the $65 that you would pay with insurance. Like, how does that make any fucking sense? What are we even paying for insurance for? Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I am legally required by the court per my divorce decree to carry insurance on my kids, there's absolutely no fucking way I would have insurance. Because everything that I've gone through this entire process was cheaper to just pay out of pocket than to go through insurance. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's not really. We're insuring things that shouldn't be insured, which is why it costs more. Like, it would, like I've used this analogy before, but it's like if you had insurance on your car that covered tire rotations and oil changes. Like, those things are guaranteed to happen. It's like, okay, maybe you're not guaranteed to have like a hormonal imbalance or something, but it's pretty common and it shouldn't be covered by insurance. You just pay out of pocket, $25 out of pocket, done. But when you have to go through the whole insurance apparatus, and the insurance company is there to make money as well. So now they got to get a cut. The doctor's got to get a cut, and you got the government involved. It's literally a disaster. But yeah, they're insuring things that should not be insured. And of course, that's going to up the cost of everything on top of everything else that the government has done to mess up the insurance industry.
Well, and then on top of that, it makes the price of all of the actual unusual thing, like a CAT scan, a scope, all of these things. It makes all of those exponentially more expensive because, like, if you have to have a procedure of some sort done, and you get your breakdown back from your insurance company, you look at how much they charge versus how much insurance pays and then how much they just adjust, like they just write off. So, what the fuck? Why are they charging so much and then writing off 2/3 of it, and then the insurance company pays this huge amount, and then I still have to pay a huge amount? It's like, how does this make any fucking sense at all?
It doesn't.
And that's the problem, is nobody actually looks at their statements that they get from insurance whenever they have something like that done, to see what was the actual charge, what did the insurance pay, what did they just write off or adjust, and what are you paying? Like, nobody, and the people who do look at it don't actually know what they're looking at. I'm very fortunate. I have an aunt who worked for an insurance company for 40 years, and she's like, if you want me to like break all this stuff down line by line and explain to you what all of it means, she's like, I can go through all of it. And once you like start looking at it and understanding what it all actually means, it makes even less fucking sense. And like the people who are in insurance, I mean, it's the game. Like, they understand that that's the game that we all have to play. And so, it's their job. It's hard to be mad at the people in the insurance company, because that's the game that they are forced to play based on the rules as they're established. It's just like, it's not the fault of the players of the game. It's the people who are making the rules. Those are the bad guys in all of this.
Yep, that's exactly right. And that, of course, is the government. And they know it reminds me of like how people complain that, all of these lobbyists are giving money to the government to curry all these big corporations and everything. They buy off these politicians. It's like, yeah, because that's the game. If they don't buy them off, their competition will be buying them off. The problem isn't that, Walmart can buy off a politician. The problem is that the politician has power to sell. That's the root of the problem. And until you find a way to get rid of that, good luck. There's always going to be an issue like this.
Right. Should I have a total collapse of the system and something else coming in? That this is kind of what it is now. That's like when people complain about farmers and farm subsidies and stuff. It's like, yeah, but that's the way the game has been laid out to be played. Either you play the game by the rules on the terms that have been established and take your subsidies and get some of your money back, or you get fucked. Because like, they act like all farmers do is take money from these subsidies. Have you seen how much a farmer will stroke a check for in April for their tax bill? Like, it's fucking insane. You're taking those subsidies just to try to make up a little bit of what you're going to end up writing back to the government come tax time.
Yeah, well, I'm not too familiar with that, but I can imagine. The only farm story I really remember is when that one farmer had like his bank account seized because he was depositing. He had a pattern of deposits that were under the 10,000 threshold to report to the IRS. But it was a pattern because it was consistently under the 10, it was like $5,000, $6,000, $3,000, because he was going to farmers markets every weekend and selling them and coming back and depositing that. And, the government comes after him for anti-money laundering shit and basically seizes his farm.
That's the people making the rules don't understand the nature of the thing that they're making the rules for. It's like, the problem with OSHA on a lot of the regulations they make on businesses and stuff. It's like, yes, that's the way farm jobs work. They're very consistent in certain times of the year at certain places. You're going to make money on certain things. You're going to sell stuff like it. Yeah, that's the nature of the business.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we had some other things on the agenda for today. Should we get off with the? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we should probably lead in with the Epstein stuff, because we had kind of teased it at the end of the last episode, and there's been a lot more come out about that since then.
Yeah. So we had so the initial thing, well, I actually haven't really followed it up since I was looking at it on Wednesday. I forgot to put out the episode that we did on Wednesday. I realized like last night that I hadn't put it out. I was like, did I put that episode out? I was like, oh yeah, I should probably do that. So I don't know if even people have had a chance to listen to it yet, but yeah, this email dump from the Democrats, and I'm sure, I mean, I haven't paid attention to a lot of the press coverage on this from the left half of America, but my guess is that they're using this headline. Like you can just use this headline, you know, Epstein Files with Trump in it, as a bludgeon to beat Trump over the head. But then, of course, almost just like every story, once you read beyond the headline, it turns out that they're completely full of shit.
Hang on, I've got you some of the media coverage of this. As a matter of fact, interestingly enough, this is Jasmine Crockett on CNN.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand, okay, but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
This is an email from April 2nd.
I don't know why the Republicans would redact that. Well, the Democrats redacted that.
Yeah, they didn't redact it. The Democrats did. And so why would they redact that name? And what's the name again? I forget the name, but it's kind of hard to say if I remember correctly.
Oh, where was it?
It's somewhere in this article that they. Well,
I can't. Yeah. Shit.
While he's looking for that, it is one of the Epstein victims who's testified.
Virginia Guthrie.
Virginia Guthrie. Okay. No, I knew it started with a V. I thought it was a little more complicated than Virginia, but there you go. Okay. Virginia Guthrie. And, well, is that the testimony right there? Should we just read that? Okay.
Yeah. So here's the part where, where was it? They asked her if Donald Trump had ever flirted with her at Mar-a-Lago, in New York, in New Mexico, anywhere. And every single time they asked her about Donald Trump, she's like, no, he never did anything. Like over and over again. They said that like Donald Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's friend and all these like email dumps that just came out, except that if you go and read them, all of them show that Jeffrey Epstein absolutely hated Donald Trump. They absolutely were not friends. Jeffrey Epstein was colluding with Russia on how to take Trump down. Like everything about like all of this that they released. So that was one of the things. Oh, where did it? There was a meme that was posted about it. It was like the Democrats were like, "Oh, Trump was Epstein's friend. Here it is in the emails," and they're like, "What?" It actually says that Epstein hated Trump. They're like, "But Trump is mentioned." There it is.
Yes, Trump is mentioned. And what is the context?
Yeah, it says Trump is in the Epstein Files. It says Epstein hated Trump, but Trump is mentioned. It's that's the entire crux of this. Like they even released a thing that said that Donald Trump had Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in November of 2017. But Donald Trump was literally the fucking president at that time. Like he is on the books being in Mar-a-Lago with family and other people, like nowhere near Jeffrey Epstein. It's like, what?
Yeah, it really is unbelievable. Like, do they, it's like, can they really be this stupid, or is this just them realizing how dumb their base is and they can just manipulate them with a headline? Because I mean, this lady, she worked for Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and this is one of the things that Donald Trump said pissed him off about Epstein, was that he was trying to poach his employees to put them into his little fucking sex rings or whatever. So this is one of the girls. And she's on record saying Donald Trump never did anything untoward with her, never made a pass at her, she never had sex with him, she never saw him or heard about him having sex with any of the other girls. And the emails from Epstein are like, if anything, they're like trying, like, how can I like fucking screw over Trump with this, or how can I screw over Trump with that? It's like, yeah, Trump's name is in there, but the context matters.
All right, here's the
that's hard to see.
Did you ever see Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's presence with one another? No. What is the basis for your statement that Donald Trump is a good friend of Jeffrey's? Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his, but you never observed them together. No, not that I can actually remember. Not off the top of my head, no. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? He didn't. That's inaccurate. Did you ever see Donald Trump at Jeffrey Epstein's home? No, not that I can remember. On his island? No, not that I can remember. In New Mexico? No, not that I can remember. In New York? Not that I can remember.
Well, the not that I can remember thing is a little, that's a little wishy-washy of an answer. It's like, I don't recall. But, I mean, it's not like an affirmative that you saw him there either. So, yeah, I mean, until we get something a little more concrete that says, Donald Trump actually did something with Epstein on his island or whatever, with one of these girls, just like, yeah, this is all just, I mean, if this is what if they had it, right? Because how hard they go after Trump and everything, if they had something, if this is as damning as it gets for Trump, he's probably in the clear. I mean, this is just right. They've two really fucking rich, popular people ran in similar circles. And Trump's on record. Like, everything that Trump has said on record kind of explains the whole Jeffrey Epstein situation. And nothing that the left is trying to claim from these emails is really holds water when you read the emails and you take into account everything that's been said by the victims and Trump.
Their latest thing, and Trump was doing cocaine because Larry Summers asked Jeffrey Epstein, how plausible is it that Trump is a real cocaine user? And Epstein's reply was, can someone from the development office show Rothschild around Harvard? Like,
yeah, dude, Donald Trump doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do, like, these are just, it just seems desperate. There's plenty that you can hammer Trump for, especially right now. It's like, why? Like, this is, again, it gives you more conviction that he's not really involved in the worst aspects of what was going on with the whole Epstein thing.
Well, and the whole thing was like from 2021 through 2024, the Democrats had this and did nothing with it, refused to release anything. And now, a year later, after Trump's been in office, or a year after Trump got elected, now they're wanting to release stuff. It's like, why didn't you do this at any point in the last 4 years if this was so damning? Why not release the whole thing last summer and completely tank Donald Trump's presidential run his run for re-election? Like, where does all of this come from? Although, from the other side of it as well, the Republicans have had the last fucking year to release all of this stuff and have done nothing with it. But like Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert, and somebody else are currently pushing forward a vote to get the Epstein Files released. And it sounds like they're going to have support for it. So if anything comes of that is to be determined, but they're trying really hard to push for the release. And like, there were people that went to MTG and Boebert and tried to talk them out of it. And they were like, no, we're not backing down. And people from the Republican side that tried to talk them out of it. And what you remember when all of this first really started to come up, and the Epstein Files are going to get released, and you had libs of TikTok, and who was the other, conservative influencers that went to the White House, and they came out with the big binders, and then nothing ever fucking came of it. And like around that time, either Patel or Trump himself, somebody was like, yeah, if we actually release all of this stuff, it would completely destroy the government as we know it. It's like, okay, if releasing the Epstein Files would destroy the entire government as we know it, then it needs to be fucking destroyed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, why are we trying to hold on to an entity that's running a child sex trafficking ring?
Right? Like that's not encouraging to anybody that's like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't release this stuff. It's like that gives us all
the other good things, Justin. They're bombing democracy over to every sandbox in the Middle East. Regime change wars. They steal half of your fucking income for your entire goddamn life. So many good things. we got to preserve that. So, yeah, so they're diddling little kids and raping children and selling them off to pedophiles. I mean, come on. Who's going to build the roads? Who's going to build those roads? Yeah. So again, dude, I mean, they're losing so much credibility with these ticky-tack things that they're trying to blow up into like these big stories, or it's just like, yeah, no, that's not gonna take down Teflon Don. Like you really need like a smoking gun to get him. And until I see that, like every time they come out with some little ticky-tack bullshit, I'm more convinced that there's nothing there. It's like the opposite of where there's smoke, there's fire. Oh, but that's me. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I think the not releasing the Epstein thing, Ryan Dawson has said that there's still a trial going on involving one of the victims. Well, all right. I don't know. Oh, would that be why they're...
Yeah, that's why the emails are coming out now.
Redacted the names? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well... We'll see what comes out of it. Chances are probably nothing. Same thing that happens with everything.
My assumption is nothing will come of it. But and at this point, we've been what, 11 months of this Trump administration. Nobody's been arrested for fucking anything. We've got the video of the J6 pipe bomber that is confirmed former Capitol Police and then turned FBI/CIA, who was working for the feds at the time and put these pipe bombs out. Like, nothing's happened with that. We have video confirmation that this is who it was, and nothing. Like, when are we getting some arrests? When are we getting like anything at all? And that goes back to 2 weeks ago or a week ago, whenever on election day, when Republicans didn't show up. Not that, and again, we talked about the 2025 off cycle elections, and it wasn't like they were anything important to Republicans anyway, but you saw by and large Republicans did not show up, and there is a real feeling that a lot of it is because we wanted 100 million deportations. We wanted arrests for J6. We wanted arrests for the Russian collusion. We wanted to see people go down for all of this bullshit, and nothing's fucking happened. Like, either start delivering, or what good are you? Like, people aren't going to show up to vote for you if you're not going to actually do anything. And it's not like we're asking, like, change fucking policy on a bunch of shit. Just, like, arrest obvious fucking criminals who have, like, go after these judges, these activist judges who have no jurisdiction to do the things they're doing, but continue to do them anyway. Like, instead of playing the bullshit judicial game with them, have them disbarred for breaching their oath of office or whatever. Like they are not allowed to do the things that they're trying to do. Have them removed. Like actually grow some fucking balls and just do something instead of talking about it. And then, 50-year mortgages and 15-year car loans and $2,000 tariff rebate or what the fuck ever. It's like, they gave $10,000 fucking checks to TSA dipshits for their time they were working and not getting paid or whatever. Fuck that shit. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, quit giving. And not only that, but by and large, the TSA is not on your side. Like, the Republicans were touting how they were giving $10,000 checks to all these TSA agents. Like, you're not winning these people over. You're not like convincing them that you're actually the good guy. They don't fucking care. They are all a bunch of liberal dipshits. Like, stop trying to play this game where you cater to the people who will always think you're their enemy and start doing the things that the people who actually fucking voted for you want you to do, or those people are going to stop fucking voting for you.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing but disdain for TSA agents. They are the worst.
As somebody who flies a lot, you probably dislike TSA agents more than the average person.
Yeah, they are just absolutely worthless pieces of shit. So yeah, the fact that they're getting checks and back pay and everything. I mean, the last like 4 months or so, the first couple of months of the Trump presidency seemed like it had some promise, and then you just have the last like 3 months or so, which are just an unmitigated disaster, dude. It's just been so bad.
Hey, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to cut out. I forgot I have a fucking doctor's appointment at 1.
Oh, all right.
I just had a notification pop up on my phone. I was like, oh fuck.
Well, we could have done a later episode.
Well, that's my bad. I forgot all about it. I've had so much other shit going on, and like I said, the reminder that I need to be heading that way just popped up. Like, oh fuck.
All right. Well, I guess I could do the market stuff that we were talking about once upon a time.
And you've got your shithole Chicago stuff. We'll do the we'll do the Seattle mayor stuff on Tuesday, because that bitch is fucking insane, and that'd be some good talking points on her.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry.
All right. Well, have a nice weekend.
Yeah, you too. My bad.
It's all good. So it's just me and Magoo now, huh? What's up, Magoo? Let's have a look. See. Yeah. So one of the things we were going to talk about, all this shithole Chicago stuff, dude. Chicago is just an absolute shithole. Almost doesn't do it justice. It almost isn't a good enough nickname. But let me see what I sent Justin here. Of course, I always delete things after I send it to him to kind of clear off my my thing here. But yeah, this is a good one. Hang on. Let's share my screen. Twitter, share that. So the Chicago Teachers Union has been a topic of many discussions among Chicagoans lately. It's always an issue with the budget. They have a lot of pull politically. And of course, the teachers are underpaid, so they go on strike because they need to be paid more in order to not educate your children. Apparently, it costs a lot of money for your kids to graduate illiterate and incapable of doing math at grade level. So it just broke. The Office of the Inspector General of Chicago Public Schools spent $7.7 million of taxpayer money on travel last year. Here, I'll just play this news report. Let's get this going here.
Terrell, the new report from the Office of Inspector General points to what it calls questionable excessive spending on overnight trips for CPS employees, including staff excursions to places like Egypt, Finland, and South Africa. This morning, the oversight body Watchdog urging Chicago Public Schools to reform its travel policies after the Office of Inspector General found CPS travel expenditures surged to $7.7 million last year. That's more than double what the district spent 5 years prior before the pandemic. The report states CPS staffers repeatedly exceeded spending limits and expensed trips and activities without approval, including a professional development conference in Las Vegas that more than 600 employees attended between 2022 and 2024, spending more than $1.5 million in district dollars. Nearly 90% of attendees stayed in hotels exceeding CPS spending limits. The Watchdog Group also found about 40% of all conference attendees traveled without receiving approval. This all while CPS faced a $734 million deficit this year before passing a $10.2 billion budget in August. CPS says the district report findings seriously, saying in part, quote, effective October 29, CPS is restricting nearly all employee travel and has formed a travel review committee effective November 2025. Travel controls, transparency, and auditability will improve with the implementation of the new enterprise resource planning financial system that is currently underway. And the district says this new system will hopefully improve automation and implement more restrictions when it comes to things like travel expenses and travel requests. We also reached out to the mayor's office for a comment. They say they have no comment for the time being as they are still going through this report themselves.
Yeah, no comment. Here, I have an idea. I don't need to implement some new system or anything. I don't need some automated thing to restrict how much money you get to spend on travel. You're teaching kids in Chicago. You're restricted to Chicago. You're not going to fucking Egypt. You're not going to Vegas on some fucking... What's a teacher doing in Vegas? What is a Chicago public school teacher need to go to Vegas for? Somebody explain that to me. Explain how that's related to teaching kids. What are you going to teach them? You know, you're not teaching them probabilities on gambling because they can't do math. They can't read. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. $7.7 million is what was spent here. Let me. It's distracting me. They're so out of control. Absolutely out of control. It's really unbelievable. But remember, it's always about the kids. It's about the kids. We need to. Yeah. Yeah, they're continuing their development courses in Vegas. Right. This is, dude, like, and no comment. And then, yeah, we're trying to put some things in place so that these things don't get abused anymore. Just how is this even a thing? What possible reason could a teacher have for traveling somewhere? Where, yeah, you got to go to Egypt. They're gonna reteach you how to indoctrinate kids over there. You got it down. You've got it down. You're doing a great job indoctrinating the kids. A terrible job of actually educating them. They can't read. They can't write. They can't do basic arithmetic. They don't have any logic-based skills either. So you're churning out retards left and right. They're basically just seals. They'll clap for you whenever you want them to. That's not enough. Now they're taking limousines. I have some other clips. Let me see if I can find them. They're taking limousines to the airports. They're overpaying for hotel rooms. This is nonsense. But somehow, it's all about the children. Of course. Always is. It always is. And then you find out, let me see if I have any other stats on just the ridiculous shit that they were spending money on before we get, God damn it. I have neighbors here. Sorry. I'm having a very hard time concentrating. We've got really loud, obnoxious neighbors now. This is what happens during high season. There you go. That's a good idea. Make their travel contingent on STEM scores and literacy rates. Make something contingent on that. I mean, there's no metric that they have to hit. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing that they have to do. The worse that their kids perform, the more money they get. So why would they ever improve anything? Of course. I mean, this is just absolute nonsense. Yeah. So the deficit in Chicago, in case you're wondering, is nearly $1 billion. The travel expenses were more than double what the district spent 5 years ago before the pandemic. So 2019 levels, basically, they doubled their spending budget on travel. Again, why is there? You can go to the fucking Lincoln Park Zoo, go to the Shed Aquarium, you can go to the Museum of Natural History. That's your travel. That's it. And it costs nothing. You want to know why? Because you get the fucking parents to drive their kids there. You know, carpool. A couple of parents volunteer. They take 10 kids, 8 kids, whatever. You get a couple parents together. You drive them to the fucking museum. You get in for free. You can teach them there. There was a whole fucking King Tut exhibit at the Museum of Natural History when I was a kid. It's probably still there. You don't need to be going to Egypt. This whole thing's ridiculous, man. This whole thing's fucking ridiculous. And there just doesn't seem to be enough outrage. Like, I'm not even in Chicago anymore. I don't have a dog in this fight. I just like pointing out how big of a shithole it is and how little they care about anything. Hang on. Really should not have done an early episode today, apparently. Justin had to dip out, and my neighbors seem to just want to stand outside the door and laugh and yuck it up. Very paper thin walls here. Cheap Mexican construction, of course. But no earthquakes this year, so that was good. Didn't have to depend on the cheap Mexican construction holding up. Although the building I'm in actually has, I think the bones are good. But when it comes to everything inside, like all the internal shit, it's all cheap. But it actually has steel beams that are driven deep into bedrock here. It's not reinforced concrete or anything. Anyway, we have some more shithole Chicago stuff. I wish I could play the music, but Justin's not here, and I don't know how to do that. So our favorite mayor. Where did he go? Oh, did I delete it? Yeah, I probably did. I deleted everything I sent Justin. That worked out well. Where's our chat? Where's our chat, Justin? Oh, something went wrong. Perfect. All right. Yeah, I know it's not my fault. It's fucking Twitter's fault. Why can't I pull up my chat? The one thing I'm looking for when I need it. And it won't. Has anybody ever seen that? Yeah, okay. Wait, passcode? What the fuck? No. No, I don't want to do that. What the fuck is going on? This is going to turn into a live episode of me just yelling at the computer. This is ridiculous. Why can't I pull up our fucking... Dude, it's like I pull up our chat and it just says, welcome to the new X chat. Okay, set a I don't want to create a I have to create a passcode now. I was in this thing 5 minutes ago. I'm not doing that. All right, whatever. Fuck, I fucking had it. I have absolutely fucking had it. We might transition over to the markets because I'm distracted with that too. There was one other shithole Chicago thing I really wanted to talk about, but Justin's the only one got it. Dude, this is not okay. I'm going to share my fucking screen. Here's I try to pull up the chat and it just says this. Oops. What the hell is this? Did they just come out with a new X chat in the last 15, 20 minutes? It's ridiculous. What do I have bookmarked? Do I have anything bookmarked? No, because I deleted all my bookmarks before I sent them to Justin, or after I sent them. Oh yeah, the other thing I did have. Oh, here we go. Here's Brendan Johnson. Here's our favorite job killer. All right, I do have it. Excellent. Hang on.
the community safety surcharge. It's a job killer for the city. Why, if I were Google, would I stay here in the city and pay that head tax instead of going out to Naperville?
The notion that these taxes kill jobs, there's just no empirical data that corroborates that. It just doesn't exist, you all. We found a way to generate revenue without it being on the backs of working people, without having to raise property taxes, without expanding garbage fees, without collecting a grocery tax. As someone who is a part of the labor movement, who comes out of the working class, my father, who worked his butt off, the third shift to raise 10 kids, I know what it's like to open up a refrigerator and there's no food in it. I know what it's like to have an orange extension cord from my window to our neighbor's window because we cannot afford electricity. There's no way in the world that I'm going to present a budget that's going to harm the working class. So in terms of the corporate responsibility that we're calling for through the community safety surcharge, that's going to go towards $50 million to hire young people. It's going to go to the wellness and the health of our police officers. There's a provision in there that ensures that we're providing support for victims and survivors of domestic and gender-based violence. And then, of course, our CVI workers, which has been demonstrated all over the city of Chicago, where brown and black organizations have community members who are working in some of the toughest precincts in the city where they have driven violence down.
Okay. He knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to have to leech off of your neighbor for electricity. Listen, the problem is he doesn't know what it's like to cut anything from a fucking budget. We're generating revenue, not off the backs of the working people. Yeah, he's trying to generate it by taxing businesses. Last time I checked, who hires working people? Who are they working for? Are they working for these poor brown and black people that are victims of gender violence and community horseshit? No, they're working for businesses and corporations who are just going to pass that on, and the taxes are going to end up hurting the working people, especially if they pack up their business and they leave. Oh, but there's no evidence of that ever happening. That's never happened. That's just fear mongering, I guess, from corporations and businesses. That is that is ridiculous. Chicago, like the rest of the government, they don't have a revenue problem. They have a spending problem. So you don't need to generate any more revenue. You have to cut out the horse shit, like teachers spending $7.7 million on travel every year. Who knows what else is going on with all of these government workers and how much money they're spending on absolute horseshit. Absolute horseshit. And when they don't have enough money to do the things that they promised, to give away more free stuff to the black and brown people and illegal immigrants and all that shit, then they come after corporations who aren't forced to be there. I mean, how many? There's no evidence. Citadel left. Caterpillar left. There's a bunch of big fucking corporations that left Chicago because of taxes and regulations. Yeah, no, I didn't lock Justin out. Justin forgot he had a doctor's appointment or something when he agreed to go early today, which didn't need to actually go early. But yeah, so he dipped out. He's in the chat, maybe driving down, giving me shit for not knowing how to use technology. But yeah, there's just going to be me for the next 20 minutes or so. But this is, this is, again, just Chicago's a microcosm of how the rest of the federal government's working. They're taking in plenty of revenue. It's just they don't know how to, they're blowing it on stupid shit. And so they keep coming back to the same well over and over and over again. And it should be infuriating. I'm still just in shock that people put up with this. It's like, how many more times do you need to get ass raped by the government before you're just like, yeah, I'm out? But according to him, there's no evidence of people leaving because we raise taxes of businesses. If we keep raising taxes on businesses, there's no evidence that they're going to go anywhere. Except, dude, I can pull up a list right now of major businesses that have left Chicago. let's see. That have left. Oh, no, I'm not interested in new AI mode. Just give me a stupid fucking answer. Boeing, Citadel, Caterpillar, and Tyson's Foods. Just off the top of the list here. Sears, Marshall Fields have ceased to exist. Yeah. The Sears Tower, one of the reasons why that's called the Willis Tower is because Sears is gone. Yeah, but I guess there's no evidence. Just 4 major fucking companies that employed thousands of people. Boeing moved from Chicago to Arlington, Virginia. Citadel moved to Miami. Caterpillar just relocated out of the Chicagoland area. So just to get out of the city limits, most likely. Now, why would they do that? Just because they didn't. Well, that was in. I forget when that was. That was a while ago, but it was before Brandon Johnson, I believe. But I'm sure it had something to do with tax policy. Tyson Foods announced in 2022 that it would move all of its corporate teams to its headquarters in Arkansas. Guggenheim Partners quietly moved to leave the city, joining Citadel in Miami. Okay. But there's just no evidence. There's just no evidence of that ever working, right? No, yeah, we're just fear-mongering over here. Brandon Johnson is just such a fucking buffoon, dude. Such a buffoon. How do I get out of here? There we go. Minimize that screen. And if you want to, so the other big story that I saw come out of Chicago last night was the oh God, tell me I have this still. Where did it go? Oh, that's the same post. That's why. Okay. Yeah. So, Chicago public schools bankrolled teachers' $4,700 trip to a Hawaiian luxury resort as well. Suburban spa retreat for elementary school staff. Limo services to Chicago airports. Yeah, that's in the Chicago Tribune editorial. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's very stressful being an elementary school teacher. So you need spa treatments to keep you on your game. Keep you playing fucking... elementary school is literally just a daycare center at this point. Oh, yeah, great. There's the move I was trying to catch this whole fucking time. And it stopped me out, and then it did it. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. Where is the stupid bitch that's in charge of Chicago's investment portfolio? This is if you ever wonder one of the reasons why Chicago has no goddamn money, it's because this bitch is in charge of something. And of course I can't. Oh wait, it'll be in my comments. At least I commented on it too, since I can't get into the chat. Bear with me here, folks. Here we go. Yeah, this is the Alderman Bill Conway is pointing out that holding U.S. Treasury bonds would have outperformed the investment decisions of the Chicago City Treasurer, Melissa Conyers-Irvin. Melissa Conyers-Irvin wants to boycott purchasing treasuries because she doesn't like Donald Trump and she doesn't want to fund his regime. So let's hear from the brain trust that is the Chicago City Treasurer, and we'll get her thoughts on her investment portfolio, her investment theories, and then performance and everything like that.
Boycott the purchase of the United States Treasury securities. I have also directed my team that we will work with this body to ensure that we are exploring ways of how we can construct our portfolio of changes in the future. As an example, our money market funds earn interest on U.S. Treasury securities. And in the past 3 years, our office has held over $200 million in Treasury securities. We will not invest in the authoritarian regime of Donald Trump. And so beginning today, I have directed my staff.
Okay. Her office earned, here we go, a 3.6% rate of return last year on their $10 billion portfolio. The current yield on the 10-year Treasury is 4.1. Oh, sorry, I just want to check that. Okay. So here is her back and forth with this alderman who's questioning this abysmal, dude, 3.6%. Yes. Well, here, let's just listen to this and then I'll get into the details of it.
And you mentioned producing $400 million of returns on an $11 billion portfolio. That itself is a 3.6% return, which is very low. Heck, the 10-year Treasury trades above a 4%, a risk-free instrument. What could this body do to help improve the investment returns under your purview?
As you know, Alderman, the way that we construct and invest our portfolio is basically mimics that of a core fixed income portfolio. And by the way, our investment returns that we have under my leadership is actually more than for the previous treasurer. So I want to make certain that we note that. Now, if you're comparing us to the stock market, obviously there's a difference. And obviously we cannot invest taxpayers' dollars as such. We need safe instruments and we need liquid instruments while also a competitive rate of return. And so the record-breaking $1 billion that we have earned over the past 3 years, again, is record-breaking.
Well, I don't know whose record that broke, but if we're only getting a 3.6% return, yeah, well, it sounds like we have had some lackluster treasurers in the past, because if we're having an investment return that is lower than that of the 10-year Treasury, that's, that does not speak well. I mean, heck, we could have put the whole thing in a very liquid ETF that trades treasuries, and the returns would have been higher.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you could. Yeah. You could literally just throw darts at a fucking dartboard and beat 3.6%. Like that takes a special kind of stupid to achieve in this sort of economic environment. And dude, she's record breaking. She's so fucking proud of herself that she wants a participation trophy for basically not even outpacing inflation. I mean, what's the current rate of inflation? It's 3 point something. It's 3 point something. And over the last 3 years, it was like, it got up. I mean, 3 years ago, it was at fucking 9%, wasn't it? Okay. So you weren't even close to keeping up with the government stated rate of inflation. And now you're kind of in line with it at 3.6%. And she wants a round of applause. She's breaking records. She's breaking records. Yeah. This is, I mean, dude, I'm just surprised. You get a DEI, some black chick in there to manage a $10 billion portfolio, and she couldn't manage her way out of a fucking brown paper bag. Now, to be fair, there are a bunch of retarded restrictions that she was referring to. I managed one of these fixed income portfolios, not for the city of Chicago, but for a government sponsored entity. And I got more than 3.6%, but you are restricted to fixed income instruments because it's supposed to be safe and liquid, like she's talking about. Right. And according to the government, safe liquid investments are U.S. Treasuries, mortgage-backed securities. You're allowed to invest in those, and other sorts of like AAA rated bonds and things like that with a fixed coupon. That's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that treasuries are considered these super safe. Like, I don't know, not keeping up with the rate of inflation, it does not seem like a super safe investment to me. It's like, yes, you will always get your nominal investment back plus the coupon. They're never going to default on that because they can just print the money and give it to people. But I don't know. You're basically just treading water. That's not a very safe investment for me. And you're not going to get any sort of decent returns. 3.6, dude. 3.6 is absolutely pathetic. Yeah, I mean, the things I invest in are typically more, more risky, but not really when you read the writing on the wall here. This is, you're never going to get a crazy good return from something like these fixed income things, but you can do better than 3.6%, as he was pointing out. Just throw it into treasuries now. But she doesn't want to do that because she doesn't like Donald Trump. She doesn't want to fund the fascism, doesn't want to fund the fascist regime. It's like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. There's not a whole lot. If you take out treasuries, that was like 20, that was what, 20% of their portfolio right there. What is she going to put that into? And even if you put it into a money market fund, those are invested in the same fucking things, as she was pointing out. So this is the level of genius that is running Chicago's finances. And no surprise, they're not making any money. Dude, markets have been ripping higher. People have been making money hand over fist. Like, imagine, dude, just the last 5 years. You could literally just throw a dart at a dartboard and it goes up. That's why you got all these kids, these 20-year-old kids who have never seen anything but like the market go up, thinking that they're investment geniuses. Because you couldn't miss. You just buy the fucking dip. Now, yes, they are, like I said, they're restricted into what they can buy, but there's certainly ways that you can get a better performance than 3.6%. That is abysmal. And especially, like, dude, if you're Chicago and you're in the hole $1 billion, like, clearly what you're doing is not working. So they've been doing, this is their standard operating procedure for as long as I've known. This is how they invest in things, and they're spending money hand over fist. Like, you're telling me that's not risky? It's not risky to run $1 billion deficits? You better start swinging for some fucking fences with your investments, because if you're letting teachers blow $7 million going to fucking Vegas and spas and riding in limos, you need to fund that somehow, and you're not going to fund it by buying treasuries. Like, you better start taking some risky investments, riskier. That might be the same chick, yeah. Like, dude, it is absolutely ridiculous. Like, they're completely retarded, dude. Completely inept, retarded people. But black woman, like, dude, I don't even know. These are DEI hires. These are career politicians. They should not be in charge of a $10 billion. Have a fucking hedge fund guy in charge of your $10 billion portfolio. Get some returns. If you want to be going to fucking spas and traveling and running $1 billion deficits, you need to be beating the S&P 500. Just throw it into a fucking index fund. Throw it into a goddamn index fund. It's not hard. You could be getting fucking over the long haul, 10%, 12% returns. Like, this is so fucking stupid, dude. It's really unbelievable. And like, let's say they did blow all of their 10 billion. It's like, okay, whatever. You'll get bailed out by the federal government anyway. What are we so concerned about? They'll just raise taxes on the rich. Just raise the taxes. They're not going to go anywhere. Remember, they're not going to move their companies. So you could just, tax them to cover your losses. Why not? Sure. What the hell? Who cares, right? Why not go for it? Why not take some fucking swings and try to hit something out of the park? At this point, that's all you've got. That's all you've got. But the funniest thing that I was thinking about when she's saying I'm boycotting U.S. Treasuries because because Orange Man bad, she might actually TDS herself into some decent returns, because I wouldn't be caught dead holding fucking Treasuries right now. I mean, yeah, if you're looking to just kind of park some money, you don't want to nobody wants to sit in cash because the government's going to destroy 3.6% of your fucking purchasing power year over year. So you don't want to just sit in cash. You want to at least get something. It's like, okay, you can park it in treasuries, but that's not like, nobody's buying treasuries to get rich. People are just doing that it's because, like she said, it's very liquid. It's a huge liquid market. So people are literally just doing that until they can find something else to invest in. So maybe she'll find something with more than a 3.6 return on her investment, some sort of fixed income instrument. But the mortgage-backed security market, I don't think I'd want to be really heavily involved in that. But those are basically the two main things that they're allowed to buy are mortgage-backed securities and treasuries. Fixed income stuff. And yeah, the idea is that you're not really taking risks with this money. You're getting a little bit of a return, but that's not going to fly when you're spending money like it's going out of fucking style. You can't have that. So if you're going to have a fucking chance at anything, you might as well fucking take on some risk. Get somebody in here that knows what they're doing. And take calculated risks. I'm not saying buy fucking Palantir or something like that, but like, I don't know, maybe some options. Take some options, take some long-term options play that, you can control a lot of leverage in the market without a lot of money, cash up front. There are safer ways to do options, but I mean, imagine having $10 billion at your disposal and you only get a 3.6% return. That is pathetic. That is fucking pathetic. And then, of course, you're breaking records. So you want a fucking award for that. It's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable how just inept they are. But anyway. I thought that was absolutely hilarious that her Trump TDS is so bad that she's going to pass up, no longer invest in treasuries. I hope what's she going to do though? Where is she going to put it? Where's she going to put another $200 million?
And you mentioned
this. I don't know if there are any longer clips where she actually talks about what her investment strategy is going to be going forward. But I'm guessing she hasn't really thought this one through. And if she was left to her own devices, she probably would be buying something that would just be retarded. A retarded purchase that's going to blow up in her face. Get somebody in here. Like, who are these people? What is this chick? Should I even look her? What's her name again? Melissa Conyers Irvin. She's controlling a $10 billion portfolio. Melissa Conyers Irvin. Let's look her up. A politician and current city treasurer. Yeah. Do we have anything else? Previously, a Democratic member of the Illinois House of Representatives. Okay, so she's been a politician her entire fucking life. Roosevelt University, shit school. People say it's good, but it's not. 2023 faced ethics investigations and allegations surrounding abuse of power. Former employees alleged her requiring staff to perform personal tasks, planning birthday parties, grocery shopping, and forcing BMO Harris Bank to provide a mortgage for her husband, Chicago Alderman Jason Irvin. Oh, she's married to an alderman. That's great. That's it. That's all we got on her. So she's literally just been a politician, House of Representatives, and now she was picked probably by what's his face, to manage the treasury of the city of Chicago. $10 billion portfolio, breaking records over there. Yeah. What I don't even know what else to say about that, except I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that Chicago has no goddamn money. Look who's running it. And if you could, let's just close your eyes. Let's do a little thought experiment here. You've got, let's say you just won the lottery. You just won the lottery, you get $10 billion. And you're not going to be one of these retards who ends up blowing the $10 billion. This is $10 billion after the government takes their fucking fit. So it's probably $20+ million pot. You pocket $10 billion. You're going to hire somebody to manage that for you. Now, you don't want to take crazy risks, right? You want to just live off of this $10 billion, get a decent return. Maybe, if you're not getting like 5-6%, like you can conservatively get 5 or 6% without breaking a sweat, without taking on a lot of risk. So you close your eyes. Who are you picturing? The actual person that you're picturing managing that portfolio for you. Nobody in their right mind is picturing some fucking black chick from the House of Representatives. I'm sorry, dude. Stereotypes are stereotypes for a fucking reason. You'd want some fucking Asian quant or some Jewish dude who's good with numbers and money, or somebody with investment experience. Not some fucking DEI hire black chick who's in the House of Representatives for Chicago. What are we doing? You idiots. No fucking wonder. No wonder you guys don't have any fucking money. You're letting teachers piss it away on bullshit. Politicians are pissing it away on bullshit. And you're getting 3.6% in the biggest fucking bull run I've ever seen. Just blow off tops. Anyway, speaking of, should we take a look at the markets for the last couple of minutes here? It is 1:15 New York time. Here, let me share this screen instead. Hang on, remove that. Stop sharing, and then I'll share this. This will be great radio for you guys. So I'm looking at here. All right, these are the S&P 500 futures that we're looking at right now. Huge run up this morning. This is on the 2-minute chart. I'll drop down to the daily here. As you can see, we've been kind of consolidating here, chopping around in this range. We had a big run down overnight. Overnight, we were down, what was that? Yeah, about 100 points on the S&P 500 futures overnight, and then complete reversal today. Big update. Same thing for the NASDAQ futures. They were down. Well, I mean, the whole market was down yesterday too, a couple percent. But yeah, it's been a big update here. Let me move back down onto the 1 minute here. This was the short I was trying to take during the show if I sounded distracted. That's why we usually do the shows later, so I'm not obsessed with the markets here. This is the trade that I was looking for. And I took it a little early here. I got stopped out, and then of course it ran without me. I jumped back in and caught a little piece of it, so made back my loss. But that's about it. But the one market I've been really focusing on lately has been the gold market. Let's pull up the gold market here. It's down big today, down 1.8% at the moment. We had a big rally, and here, I mean, this was the rally up through October where we got almost to 4,400 and then had that big pullback. We just had a big reversal right here. You see this, this swing high was taken aggressively, and we're watching this zone right in here I was anticipating a drive down into that zone. And I'm liking the reaction that we're getting out of it. So if remember, this is not investment advice. This is just kind of how I read charts in the market. You know, Justin and I were talking about doing that. So I figured I got a few minutes left here. I'll just bore you guys to death, especially those listening. But there's a gap in price here that I just drew out with this green box. As you can see, this big green bar here, that's all buy side. That's all buying in the market, right? So there was no selling. There was no sell side being offered in this range. So it was basically, I call it an inefficiency in price delivery. So we were anticipating a drive back down into that to sort of balance out that range. And we got that today. And what we want to pay attention to is how it reacts when it's inside this zone. And I divide it up into quadrants. That's what I'm just doing right there. Except I drew it not quite perfect there. Hang on. There we go. That's a little better. So when you divide it up into quadrants, that can kind of give you some key levels that you can watch the market play off of. The midpoint of that zone, which is at 4,062 thereabouts, is the area that we don't really want to see the bodies of the candles close below that. If I do see that, I would anticipate a sweep down to these lows here at 39.13, 39, all the way down, probably sweep this low at 3,886. So if we do end up closing in this green zone here, the bodies of the candle, so the anatomy of these candlesticks, right? They call them candlesticks. The body of the candles is where is between the opening and the closing price. And then these little wicks here is just how far price moves throughout in this case, the day. Each one of these candles represents one day of trading. So if this day, at the end of Friday, we close below 4,062, I would, I'm, sort of abandoning my bullish bias, and I would anticipate a potential sweep of these lows here down at 3,900. Again, this is not investment advice. This is just sort of how I read the charts. Now, if we drop down into a 1 minute, we'll probably see some interesting, you'll see why I draw those quadrants in. This is today on a 1 minute basis, the candlesticks here, and this is that green zone. And you can see how it plays off of these quadrant levels. That is algorithmic price action. It is not based on buying and selling pressure or any of that shit that they tell you in those retail trading books. Like I said, I just drew this in right now. I'm not cherry picking this, but look at the respect that this first quadrant gets right here, and look at the bodies of the candles. I know, sorry for those of you that are just listening, but you should pull up the podcast on Spotify, and you can get a little crash course here, right? So you can see that this one candle comes down and touches the top of the zone. And then the next one starts at the top of the zone. You drive down. Here's the first quadrant. Look at the bodies respecting just beneath it there, the bodies of the candles. And here's one of those inefficiencies in price, right? So it drives up into there. Look at that. Look at how it hits the midpoint of that little zone I just drove it. Let me draw it a little better. There you go. That is how it should be drawn. So you got this inefficiency in price. This was all sell side, no buy side. The wicks come up, hit the halfway point, immediately reject. And look at the bodies staying below that 25% line there, that upper quadrant. Bodies stay below it. That's a bearish sign. And of course, you immediately go down to the next quadrant, right? And then look at the respect for it. Bodies stay below, wicks are hitting off of it, down to the next quadrant. Okay, yeah, trades a little bit below it, but it can't make it down to the last quadrant here, right? It can't completely close in this gap. So it bounces off of that one a little bit, and then it comes almost all the way down, but it doesn't close it in. And then you get the reversal. And then look at this. here's the midpoint, and it hits the midpoint, touches it one more time, and then it's up to the upper quadrant. And then look at the body. It's trying to fight through that upper quadrant, breaks through it. And then that becomes previous, it's not support and resistance, but it is support and resistance, but it's based on something. It's based on algorithmic price delivery. How did I know that this level, why at this level, right? Why at 4,079, right? And it's because it's that zone that I identified and then divided it into quadrants. And as soon as it gets above it, now you're off to the races, right? And look at this displacement here. That's a very bullish sign when you get a big move up like that, just above that quadrant. All right, and then we get to the top of it, and look, bounces right off of it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then it breaks below. So now we're below it again. I would anticipate at least going back down to 4,080 right here. But what we're looking for, I just wanted to show you kind of how price behaves on a higher, lower time frame. But on the daily, we're watching to how it behaves inside that zone. So if it closes outside of this zone, I'm anticipating higher prices and probably a run towards these all-time highs over the next week or whatever. If it closes in the upper half of this zone, I'm still anticipating higher prices. But once it dips, once it closes below that midpoint, I shift my my thinking and I start to look for a reason for them to sweep it lower here before going higher. Ultimately, I think gold is going higher. Precious metals are going higher. There's fundamentally, I just don't see a reason why it wouldn't. The way that the government's been spending money, destroying the value of your dollar, I have very strong conviction that over the long term, precious metals will be higher. But this is sort of how I read the charts on a shorter term basis. So hopefully, I don't know if any of you guys find that interesting. I'm always fascinated by how the price reacts in these sort of things. If you want to see something again, I can show you. I can draw it the other way, right? We had this zone here. Look how the bodies are. I mean, they close just above it, but not by much. That midpoint there. And then it rejects lower. And you can do the same thing the other way. You draw on your quadrants, and then if you drill down to a lower time frame, and you go and you look, you'll start to see respect of these levels, and it almost uses those quadrants as like steps or stairs, like going up, right? All right, here's the first one, touches it, kicks it off, gets to the next one, touches it a couple times, jumps to the next one. And then it bounces around in between the two, okay? And then it makes it up. And now that's the next step to the top. And then it jumps around on the top, and then it takes the stairs down. And you can just see it using those levels. I'm more convinced than ever that that's how these algorithms are coded. I don't think that all of a sudden buying and selling pressure just changed right on a dime at that line. I don't see a case for that, which is why I don't use any of those indicators or anything like that. I don't use volume profiles or nothing like that. It's all just this kind of stuff when I look at charts. If you want to see something really interesting, like here, let me show you the 1 hour. Watch this. Sorry, this will be the last thing that I draw in for you guys. I'm going to take this little price inefficiency right here, and we're going to carry that across. All right. So at the top of that, I mean, look at this. Did I draw that right? Hang on. Zoom in. Sorry, I did not. It should be right about there. Is it on the 4 hour like that? All right. All right. Now, I mean, I guess you could say that I'm just cherry picking zones and stuff like that, but I mean, that almost closed in that gap to the tick. To the tick. The top of the zone, if I did draw it in correctly, is 4,245.47. Now, this going to clean up that inefficiency, right? That's what the zone is. There was no buy side being delivered. Buy side came in and delivered price all the way to 4,245.22. So what 0.2 0.2 difference. I mean, that is, and if you zoom out, you can't even really see it. It looks like it stopped right on a dime. So you're telling me right there, even though I could have drawn this in advance, that price buying and selling pressure just changed right there on a dime, just like that. And of course, if you want to draw your quadrants in again, if any of you guys ever are interested in this, TradingView is a great platform to use. It's free. If you don't want live data, it's free, and you'll get it like, I think it's on like a 15-minute delay or something if you don't pay for data. Paying for the live data is like $5 or $7 a month or something like that. If we draw our quadrants in again, and we can drop down to like a 15-minute chart, or we can go down to the 1 minute again, and we can see how it behaves in there. Again, dude, like you're telling me that where it stops basically to the tick of the top of that zone, that top of that price inefficiency, that was just all of a sudden the sellers just took over. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And then look at this one here. Look at this one touches the bottom of the zone to the tick, 4,225.76, and immediately goes, where does it go? To the midpoint, and then stops right there. Again, look, here's the lower quadrant, stops there, and then you get the sell-off, and we go back down into that that inefficiency that we were looking at on the daily. So if you are interested in the price of precious metals or where they're going, or you just want to follow this along, maybe we'll track this. We're going to have to wait to see how this closes today. I think today will be a somewhat of a defining day as to whether or not we're going to make a run for 4,400, or there's more downside and they're going to sweep these lows here. I mean, this is looking awfully juicy right here, where these bodies are completely smooth, like this level down here, just below 4,000. I wouldn't rule out them sweeping those lows before taking it higher again. And what we see probably today will give us an indication. We're watching this zone here. This is between, for those of you just listening, 4,027 and 4,097. That's the area we're focusing on, with 4062 being the midpoint. We're going to pay real close attention to that, see how it closes, and that will give us an indication for what to expect on Monday and then going forward. So there's a little market, I don't know, technical analysis, I guess you would call that. But yeah, it looks like we got a nice rally today. We'll see if we can close on the highs. I don't know if they'll be able to hold it, but it does look like we're chopping around on these indexes for a while. You can see this range here that I just drew out there. That's on the S&P 500. The NASDAQ has the same kind of thing, chopping around. We're entering some consolidation, which makes sense when after you have these big moves up or big moves down. A lot of times you'll get some sideways chop in those ranges where it's building up liquidity to either take it higher or lower. I am not trying to call a top in this market. I've learned not to try to do that. So for the time being, I would just anticipate it trading within this range for a while until I see something that indicates we're either going much higher or much lower. Other than that, I think that's about it. Oh man, I was yakking for 20 minutes. I don't think anybody's even still listening to this, but yeah, silver still holding on to 50. It's down 2.75% today, but it's still above 50, and gold's still above 4,000. So yeah, like I said, Bitcoin's getting hammered. It's under 100K now. It's at 96,000. Let's look at Bitcoin. I know everybody loves Bitcoin, right? So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. And oof, that looks a little ominous. All right. We ran these highs here at 123,000. We got up to what? 120, 126. That was back October 7th. That looks like yeah. And we immediately sold off after that. We just ran these lows here. How far down can we go? Let's see. If I was a betting man, it looks like it's making at least a run below 92. You can see these. You got this little pool of liquidity here, these lows, and then this inefficiency in price right here. Let me make that a green zone. That's busy. Oops. So so the top of that zone is 92,125. The bottom of it's 88,490, thereabouts. I would anticipate a dip down into there, and really you have another zone just below it. So we do the whole thing, which you can kind of do if you really want to. 85,000 to 92,000. I would anticipate it going in there, and I'd watch the midpoint at about 88,890. So 88,000, 89,000. You'd want to watch how it trades around there. Like I said, a close below that midpoint. I would look for it to go even lower. There is, yeah, just at like 75,000, just below there is another pretty juicy pool of liquidity for it to dip into, rake people over the coals. So yeah, right now you can see that this is bearish order flow here, right? We're making lower lows and one after another, right? Lower highs and lower lows, and it's just kind of working its way down. So yeah, this would be it's already closed in this gap up here. It's closed in that one. So we'll see how it closes. There's still 5.5 hours left on this candle. So if it reverses and closes above the midpoint of that, okay. But if it stays down in this, below 100,000, I would anticipate it going down to around 88,000 something, 89,000 before you see another push up. But like I said, again, not trading advice, not investment. I don't trade crypto. Well, I fuck around with it in paper trading sometimes when we do our Friday night happy hours. But that's just kind of for fun. And because it's the only thing that's open on Friday nights. Everything else closes for the weekend. So I mess around with it a little bit, but I don't literally trade that. I don't make money doing this. So that's just my 2 cents. Take it for, it's worth exactly what you paid for it. But we'll keep an eye on this. Maybe we'll do an update on a different episode if Justin ever just leaves me hanging. And yeah, I guess that's going to wrap it up for the week. Let's see. I have anything else to announce? I don't think so. Well, I think we'll be back on Tuesday. I'm guessing Justin doesn't have any. He hasn't told me he has any conflicts with that. Tuesday is the 18th, and then Yeah. Okay. So we got another week and then Thanksgiving. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. I appreciate you. Sorry that this was a little discombobulated today. Justin had a conflict dipped out in the middle of the episode, sort of left me hanging. No big deal. And then, of course, had some technical difficulties and some obnoxious neighbors. So I apologize if I was a little all over the place. Hopefully you got some value out of this, especially the chart reading stuff. If you did, let me know in the comments or something if you want to do more of that. Or maybe I could start doing like a different live stream where we could just watch the markets if you guys really want to do that. I don't think I would trade it live. I've never traded live before. We could do it in like a demo account or something. But no, I don't want that. I don't want people like copying my trades or something. I don't want that sort of responsibility. But if you want to do like, we could do like a market review or something like that, go like maybe into the close or at the opens pretty early for those of you guys, 9:30 New York time. But I think, being able to read these charts, even if you're not going to trade, you should have that. You should have some sort of foundational knowledge. And like I was trying to show you today, all that stuff in those retail books, buying and selling pressure and volume, and people that draw their charts up with Bollinger Bands and it's overbought, oversold on the RSI. Like if that's working for you, okay. Over the last 5 or 6 years, I think I've been more convinced that that's all just bullshit. And this is how price books. It's all controlled by algorithms, and it's based on time and price. There are key levels that you can look at, and there are those key levels are usually like previous day highs, lows, opens and closes, and then these inefficiencies that I pointed out with these boxes where there's sort of a gap in price delivery. Algorithms, I think, are coded to go return to those gaps and balance them out. So that'll do it. Bitcoin's crypto's looking like it's going to take a bath. I'd be pretty worried if I was one of these hodlers. I don't know how long you're going to be able to hold that. The sweep below 75,000 is looking like there's a strong potential there. But like I said, I would be watching it once it gets once it gets around 92,000. If it does, I'm not saying it absolutely will, but it's at 95,700 right now. If it gets to 92, I would start watching how the price behaves in there and looking for indications that it's either going to go lower or higher. Good luck to the crypto guys. I don't know. I'd be nervous. That chart looks a little scary to me. And then the tech stocks, NASDAQ and stuff like that. I don't know, man. There's so many bubbles. Like some of these valuations are crazy. I don't know if any of you guys saw that Michael Burry put on a huge short position on Palantir and Nvidia. Palantir it's well off of its highs. It's at $174 a share right now. It got up as high as 207. But its price to earnings ratio is 415. 430. 400. That is mania valuation level. And Michael Burry is the Big Short guy, the Asperger's dude from The Big Short. If you saw the movie or read the book, who put on that trade a couple years, like he's notoriously early, but he made a pretty big bet on Palantir, this whole AI bubble just crashing. and it's based on, well, a couple of things, like these insane valuations, but also they've been doing some crazy, I don't know if it sounds like it's somewhat fraudulent, depreciation when they value these things, like the depreciation in AI stuff, because, you know, like the chips that they use and all that fucking, believe me, I really don't know a lot about this stuff. I mean, you guys already saw me struggle with trying to even get the chat thing open today, but the one thing I do know about technology is that it's rendered obsolete very quickly, very quickly. So, you know, within a couple of years, the thing that you had is no longer viable for the new technology that's coming into the market. And so when you depreciate these things in your valuations, you know, they're using like 10 to 15 years, I think is what he was saying. And in reality, it's like 1 to 3 years or something. It's basically doing what Enron was doing, but on it's $174 billion difference. And Enron was like a $74 billion difference. There was a pretty good, maybe I'll link to it. This guy, I had never heard of him before, but I came across his Substack on Twitter last night and I was reading it. It was kind of interesting. So I don't know. I get nervous when you see valuations like that. It's a mania, dude. That is an absolute mania. And it sounds like there's like some weird AI circle jerk stuff going on where they're kind of just passing money back and forth to each other. And everybody's just convinced that this is the trade. Like usually when there's like 100% consensus, that's time for you to start looking, okay, what if that's not going to be the case? What if that's not going to play out? Nvidia's valuation is not nearly as insane. I think it's only 40 something, 55. Okay. I mean, that's high. That's high, but it's not 430 high. Right. So we'll see. The puts that that Michael Burry bought, it was 9.2 million worth of puts on Palantir, a strike price of $50. So he's betting on a major collapse in the price. And if I look at the chart, which I haven't really looked at it yet, $50 is interesting. It's below that. And there's a big inefficiency in price right there. Look at this gap here. It gapped up from 41 to 53, just like that. So he's right at almost at the mid upper quadrant of that. So he's betting that he'll be able to sell Nvidia for $50 and make money on it. A lot of money. Like $240 million basically is what that position would be worth if Nvidia crashes to 50 over the next, by the way, this is not going to happen like tomorrow. Well, who knows? He's betting on it happening before, I think, January of 2027. So those were long-term leap put options that he bought on that. And he bought some on Nvidia. I don't know what the strike price on Nvidia was. It was focused on Palantir, what I was reading. So if you're a Michael Burry fan, he has signaled that he's put his chips on the table and he just walked away. He closed down his Scion Capital. He closed it down because I don't think he wants to deal with the backlash of having to kind of fight the mainstream AI fanatics for the next 2 years. Well, next year. From if you know anything about him and what he went through, having that big short position on for like a year and a half or 2 years maybe before it actually paid off, it was very difficult for him to go through that. There was people threatening lawsuits, redemptions, and I think it fucked with him psychologically pretty well. So he placed that huge put bet. Well, I don't know. I mean, for him, $9.2 million is probably not that. That's like 10. I don't know. I know he made like 100 million on his the Big Short. So even if he didn't make $1 since then, it's like not even 10% of his portfolio. But that's a pretty big bet. And it's aggressive too, $50 strike price. Like that's a complete collapse. But it's only back to October of 2024 levels. So it's only a year ago. It was at $50, and now it's at 174. I mean, it's had a ridiculous run. So if that resonates with you, maybe keep an eye on that. But yeah, I think we're in kind of a precarious situation here. And there's definitely a mania involved in AI. The crypto industry, we'll see. I don't know, dude. If AI, I mean, Bitcoin seems to be trading like the NASDAQ more so than anything else. Although the NASDAQ isn't down today and Bitcoin is quite a bit. But it seems to kind of mimic tech stocks more so than anything else. And it's selling off hard. So if there is some sort of a pullback in tech and AI, I would anticipate Bitcoin to go along down with it. But again, none of this is investment advice. This is me just rambling for another. Jesus Christ. Okay, I've been going way too long. Oh man, sorry if I bored all you guys to death, if you're even still listening. But yeah, I was supposed to wrap like 20 minutes ago. I'm sorry. Well, I was trying to wrap 20 minutes ago, and then I just started rambling about markets. So yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday. And like I said, let me know in the comments if you want to, if you have any interest in any of this technical analysis stuff. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm sitting in front of these fucking charts every morning anyways. It's not a big problem for me to turn on a live stream and we can watch it together, show you how to tape read, something like that. But I do think it's worthwhile to be able to look at these charts and see something rather than just a bunch of noise, even because you're going to need, with the way the government is destroying your dollar, you're forced into these markets. You might as well learn how to read these charts so that even if you have somebody else managing your money for you, you can have some sort of idea of what's going on when you pull up the stock chart or something like that, or an index or something. So I think it's an important skill to have, even if you're not going to use it on a daily basis. It's something that is worthwhile. So let me know if you guys agree, and we can maybe work something out. And until next time, you guys know what to do. Just keep on peddling that so-called fiction. Peace. I don't even know how to stop the show or play music. Okay, what happens if I hit this X? Oh, that just gets rid of that. Oh, end stream. Yeah, there we go. All right, later, everybody. Oh, play outro.